exhaust everything that you can if you decided to go on a particular skill. Like for instance, if you decided to go photography and then months after months nothing happened, ask yourself, did I do everything that I can? Or what else have I not done that might be a reason for me to succeed? Ask those questions before you entertain the idea of shifting from another skill.
Hey everyone, it's me again, Jake Rice, and welcome to another episode of the Design Live Show. In episode 74 of TDLS, I sat down with Kevin Somerbang. He's the founder and creative director of Kinetic slides that help businesses stand out from the competition through stunning presentation designs. In this episode, we talk about his design life stories from ground up, how he was able to start after he graduated as an industrial engineering student and shift his career from being in the corporate world into creative industry. Massive practical tips on starting your own design journey, his step back with his creative business journey and how he was able to overcome it. We also talk about the step-by-step guide on how to provide outstanding service using PowerPoint presentation design, the importance of understanding the content before designing anything, and why designing slide presentation is underrated, especially here in the Philippines, and much, much more. So hopefully you'll find this really insightful for your entrepreneurial journey and for your creative journey as well. And I'm super excited to share this to all of you guys. And I know, and I personally believe that you'll find this really meaningful, and I really love to talk with people like Kevin because we share a lot of similar passion with regards to design, and hopefully you'll find this really helpful for your own creative path. And if you haven't already, please do subscribe on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, or SoundCloud, or in any of your favorite podcasting app. You can also check all the episode for free at thedesignlifeshow.com. That's thedesignlifeshow.com. So I think we can dive in now into this episode with Kevin. So without further ado, I hope you enjoy this episode. You're listening to the Design Life Show, a podcast that helping everyone grow to live a meaningful and creative life. It's me, Jake Rice, a designer from the Philippines, best known for being an advocate of essentialism and optimism. I'm sitting down with awesome people to talk about their journey, their process, and the lessons they've learned along the way. Hey everyone, it's me again, Jake Rice, and welcome to another episode of the Design Live Show. And I'm super stoked right now. Actually, we're recording it tonight at 9 p.m. I'm here with Kevin Somerbang. So, Kevin, how are you, man?
Hey, Jake Rice, what's up? I'm good.
Yeah, thank you so much for accepting my invitation, bro. And I really
Sure, my
appreciate.
pleasure.
Yeah, I really appreciate your presence tonight. So yeah, before we dive on the things that we want to share for the community, for our listeners, can you share a little bit about your your work right now, your the things that you are doing right now, and a little bit
Ye-
about your personal life?
Yeah, sure. For a start, I'm a graduate of industrial engineering from St. Louis University, Baguio City. But then 5 years after being in the corporate world, I decided to shift to designs. So right now, I'm a designer, and my major client is one of the biggest data center company in the world. So uh, what do I do? Well, basically, I do PowerPoint, very basic shop, very basic such that someone would say, "Really? You make money out of PowerPoint?" Yes, that's right. I make money out of PowerPoint.
Yeah.
Correct. So I started my freelance career 3 years ago, but it didn't. PowerPoint didn't come on the way easily. I started a lot of trial and error. I first thing that I did when I was applying on Upwork was to be a transcriber. That's one of the basic things that most of us freelancers do, right?
Uh-huh.
And then I shifted to doing Photoshop, editing audio, doing videos, and all this stuff. But the income that I get from it is not really commensurate of the efforts that I put into my work. And so um, I was hoping for more. I was looking for what could be an easy way for me to do my freelancing and then get paid well. Uh, I was thinking of it way back like 3 years ago. And then one job post on Upwork struck my attention. It says PowerPoint designer. And the client was offering it for like $120. And for me back then, it was such a big money. So I was like blown away. Wow, really?
Yeah.
Someone is willing to pay for a PowerPoint presentation for $120 US dollars in, huh? So I was really, really surprised back then. So I applied. Luckily, I got in. And then, uh, so that was my very first PowerPoint client. So he is from Australia. And then that's how I started my PowerPoint business. I thought 120 is like a very big amount. And then as I progress or as I develop my skills in PowerPoint, I realized that a lot of businesses need my service. And then that's the time that I started to move out from Upwork and then start connecting to through LinkedIn, Facebook, and all of the sites that we can see leads from.
Gotcha. And you also
Yeah.
have your
So
own website, right?
right.
Yeah, that's
Can I
really
plug it
cool.
in now?
No, no, we can plug it in after
Later.
this one. Yeah,
Excited.
yeah, for sure we will talk about it later. And yeah,
Yeah.
I'm just curious, man. When you're shifting from this career or from this freelance work, creating and designing PowerPoint for the one of the or for the few great clients that you have right now,
Mhm.
what's your thought about that? What you are thinking when you're shifting into this career?
Yeah, for once I was a bit fearful back then. That was actually um 6 months 6 months now. Yeah. I used to
Gotcha.
be a supply chain planner under one of the biggest um, food restaurants in the Philippines. And then they were asking me, why do you need to go out? I mean,
Mm-hmm.
this company
Yeah.
is good. It's providing you a good income, a stable one, and
Gotcha. Mm-hmm.
they're promising like a lot of stuff like the company has a plan for you in the future, all this stuff. But then I said, no, I'm not that happy here. So I, it's hard. It's hard to give them the right reason for me to move out from that company. But
Mm-hmm.
then they know and they felt like I was so passionate about what I do, which is designs. And wala silang magawa. They couldn't do anything but to just let me go.
Gotcha. Mm-hmm.
And I'm happy that during my last day, I remember that there were a lot of managers who wished me really good luck, who gave me a lot of inspiring messages to thrive on my own business and all that stuff. So first one's fear. Now the next thing that I felt back then was uncertainty. Because when you're doing your freelance business, you're all on your own, right?
100%.
Yeah, sure. So so that may be one of the reasons why I'm so fearful back then. So how am I supposed to make this a stable job for me? What do I need to do so that I can have a consistent number of leads or number of clients? What if I won't have clients in the next months? How will I feed myself? All those stuff, those fears kept on my mind. But I always believe that when you're passionate about something, when you put your everything, your passion, your when you put love and commitment to what you do, everything will work out just fine. And by the grace of God, everything works fine right now. I guess on my standard.
Gotcha. And I think that's
Yeah.
really, that's really uh great to to go back on your humble beginnings. And
Yes.
it's super interesting how you overcome those fears, especially the creatives right now, or those few passionates that are really doing well. It's you can count it on your hand, right? So, and
Mm-hmm.
um, some of them are really uh asking for external validations, and I'm I'm impressed that you really try to do your best and pursue what you are passionate at. And yeah,
Yes.
and when it comes to freelancing, right? So I think a lot of Filipinos, especially in general Filipinos, are still don't have any idea about this, right? So if you given a chance that you know share something for those aspiring freelancers or aspiring designers, what will you say about to them?
Well, that's a tough question, and I think I could just need to put myself in their shoes and then go back like 3 years ago to answer
Yeah.
that. So, um, my advice for those freelancers or those wannabe freelancers in the future is that you have to have a solid commitment before you dive into freelancing. Because, like what I said, when you're doing freelancing, you're all on your own. Well, except if you have like mastermind group or you have a coach. But the work that you do them all on your own 100%. So my advice is that think about it before you dive into it. Think about it. Is this something that you would really like to do? Yes, they say that freelancing gives you freedom, but freedom just doesn't come so easily. You have to work hard for it, and a lot of temptations, a lot of trials, a lot of challenges will be there. And if you don't have that solid commitment to pursue freelancing, I don't think you're gonna make it through. So my advice is that think through it. If you want to pray about it, go and pray about it, and then make a commitment for yourself, perhaps for your family. How do you see yourself 5 years from now? How committed are you to make it real 5 years from now or 10 years from now? Commitment. That's it, bro.
Yeah, yeah, that's really, awesome. And I think I'm really connecting with that, with the commitment, because the only thing that you can do for yourself is to commit, uh, uh, to commit something that that really, that really, uh, that you really cared of, yeah, that you are caring
Mm-hmm.
on your own, right? So it's basically like your let's face it, right? So here in the Philippines, right? So we've thought that you just go to school, after that get a job, that get a good job, right? That pay you uh, a, a certain amount of money, x amount of money, and
Mm-hmm.
doing some unconventional path. Uh, it's really need 100% commitment, right? And it's really
Right.
a top or a hard pill to swallow. So thank you for sharing that, Kevin. And with regards to when you are doing some designs for your clients, do you have any processes or workflow? If you don't mind sharing that for those aspiring PowerPoint designer, before
Oh
we
yeah.
dig dive on how on why there's power on PowerPoint designing. So
Sure.
can you share it to those who are listening?
Yeah, sure. So you guys who wants to be PowerPoint designer someday, you have to know that each output, um, each output has a different approach to it. But if there's one general thing that I do, or that is part of my system, it's in um, the first one would be understanding the content. Because if you understand the content, um, you would know how to put yourself, or you would know how to strategize on what you do per slide and what type of design will be used for this particular deck, or yeah, basically those stuff. You need to consider the content, so that
Gotcha.
you can know what type of design that you will be using. And this is hand in hand with the branding, right? So
Mhm.
if you know the company that you're working for, what type of branding do they have, so that you will induce those branding guidelines or brand guidelines to the deck. It's good that most of my clients have brand guidelines, but some of them don't have. So that's one of the challenges that I face sometimes. I have to create a brand guideline for them before I could finally start doing their slide design. So the next part is that, before I dive into the rest of the slides, I make sure that my pilot slides, I call them pilot slides because they just set they're like the
What is
mock-ups
that?
of a product.
Pilot
Pilot
slide.
slides, yeah,
Gotcha.
like
It's
a
like a
launch slide or
launch
something.
slide. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Got it.
So I design like 5 to 7 slides and then show them off to my client, and then I would say, how do you feel about this design? Do you like it or not? What are your feedbacks? And then based on that, like, if they're happy, then that's the time I would dive into the rest of the slides. If they're not happy, I just need to check on them again. What doesn't make you feel happy about this thing? What did I not understand about the content or the design or the brief?
Gotcha.
All this stuff. So they would need to revert back to me, and then based on their feedback, I would need to tweak those pilot slides and then show them again. And then the review process starts over and over again until I come to the point where I would get what they need before I would dive into the rest of the slides. So the tip that I learned from that is that you have to really understand the content and the brand guideline, the design brief, so that you will eliminate the process of a lot of reviews or a lot of checking, because it takes time. Most of my clients are in the US, and it takes one day for them to get back to me. So I don't want to do that. I want a fast transaction between them. So I make sure that I understand the content, the brief, um, the brand guideline. I do the pilot slides and then let them check it. And then after everything's okay, I will make sure that the rest of the slides are consistent to what has been signed off during the pilot slides. So that's it. That's basically my process.
Gotcha. I have a follow-up question with that, Kevin. When you're designing the actual PowerPoint, do you need to write the content as well, or they provide the content for you to
Oh
design?
yeah, right. I failed to mention that. So what I currently offer right now is just designing, but I look into it in the future. Like perhaps I would
Gotcha.
have another team member
Mm,
who does content writing. But
gotcha.
right now, all I do is to design everything. So
Yeah.
they give me everything, and then I make sure that it's completely on brand, brand consistent, um, professional, or it depends on what they need.
Hmm.
Yeah,
Gotcha.
that's what I
Yeah.
do.
Yeah. Thank you so much for sharing that. And actually, I'm really enthusiastic about this topic because I think this niche is really undervalued right now in the design industry.
Yeah, you could say that.
Yeah, can you agree with that? Because we need
Yeah,
more
I can.
designer with the PowerPoint, because some of the keynotes are, for the sake of, I'm not trying to brag, but some of the keynotes are really not that interesting and doesn't not communicate the brand, the value, and the end goals of that talk or of that keynote, right? So, and,
Exactly.
yeah, and it's really interesting to know more about your process as well, because I know that designers out there didn't know the possibilities about this one. This niche is really really powerful, and and I'm thinking that you can use it for your startup pitch. You can use it for your
Mm-hmm.
companies. If there's an event, right? So
Mm-hmm.
uh, it's really caught my attention, right? So
Right.
yeah. With regards, Kevin, with regards to the designing, do you prepare uh drop something with your pen and paper, or just go with it with straight to the apps or tools you use?
Yeah. Well, I what I do is that part of my process is just to read through when I'm understanding the content, which is my first step, right? So when I'm doing that, I just scroll through each slide that they currently have,
Gotcha.
and then I just have at the back of my mind, or sometimes I would create a draft, but it's not like a draft that you do like an illustrator, like you create like the outlines and stuff you draw.
Gotcha.
No, it's not that. What I do is just I just take note that on each slide this needs to be seen, on the next slide this needs to be emphasized, all the stuff, more of like the guidelines instead of the draft or the
Gotcha.
drawing. Yeah, that's what I do.
Yeah. Is there any limitations with with the number of slides that you can present? Let's say I'm the client, and then I'll ask you to create a slideshow for a product. Do you recommend some number of slides, eh,
Y-
or it's
yeah.
up to them?
Yeah, I would say it's up to them, but sometimes I
Mhm.
give them my input. Like, if you're doing a pitch, like the standard slide count for pitches are like 12 slides only. And if you go beyond
Mhm.
that, that would mean like your presentation is going to be boring or something.
Yeah.
Yeah, and
Mhm.
for some of my customers, some of them would require up to 60 slides.
60,
Some
six
of them,
zero.
yeah, six
Yeah,
zero. That's six
gotcha.
zero.
Mm-hmm.
Some of them, most of I had one client before, which is in the academe, and if I can
Yeah,
remember
makes
like
sense. Hmm.
right, it's like 200 something slides. That was
Wow.
by far
Yeah,
the most number of slides that I designed. Yeah, depends on the need, really.
gotcha. Yeah, gotcha. And yeah, I can imagine if you're pitching for an academic students, right? So it's probably more slides than pitching your startup, right? So because business business owners are, they don't have any time to waste, right? So probably if you're designing your slides, so you can shorten up, right? So to maximize the time
Right,
that for your guests, or your uh for the investors, right? And
right.
yeah,
That's right.
and let's go dive into your, to your struggles, and what are the challenges, when you're just you've been into the freelancing or designing PowerPoint for more than 3 years. Is that right?
Right.
Yeah, and what are the biggest struggles or challenges that you overcome throughout
Mm-hmm.
this journey, and how do you overcome it, just to give some idea for those listeners, or for those aspiring designers as well?
Yeah, cool. So one of the things, or I consider this as my weakness, is
Mhm.
consistency. You know what?
Gotcha.
Sometimes on days you are very hyped, you wanted to do a lot of stuff, you stay
Mhm.
up all night doing a lot of things, and you plan for a lot of things, and then on the next week you were just like, oh, I don't want to work this day. I just want to lie on bed every day and then watch Netflix and stuff, all
Yeah.
those things.
Mhm.
Sometimes I become inconsistent, but the thing that really works, and I'm not saying that I'm a master of it. I still go through that struggle like a lot of times. But the thing that helps me is that being in a group with like-minded people, or being in a mastermind group, or being on a tribe. Recently I enrolled to a tribe, and then there are a lot of designers in there. There are a lot of freelancers who share the common mindset that we all have, which is winning, surviving, closing deals, all those stuff. So when you get to hang out with them, you get the energy uh, that they show. When you talk to them, and they're very passionate about what they do, you become passionate too. You come to realize that, oh, I've been sloppy for the past previous days. I wanted to get back on track, and then um, continue what I have started. You know, how am I doing on my goal, or what have I been achieving for the past days? All the stuff you start to reflect on yourself when you hang out with this types of person. So I guess one of the things that really helped me is to connect with someone with like-minded, like you, J. Chris, and I'm really happy that we connected through your podcast.
I'm too.
And
Yeah.
I
Thank you.
correct. I continue to connect with a lot of freelancers to know more about their business and what strategies have been working for them, so I could probably apply it to my own business. And when I talk to them, like over a cup of coffee, or just like this, like when we're on the phone, chances are, or most of the times, I would be inspired after the conversation. So it's really important to have someone who understands what you're going through, and someone who shares the same mindset that you have.
100%. Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah, that's really cool. And when it comes to this group, support group, I really think that we need that as well. And I'm big about that as well, because uh you know, creating is really means commitment, right? So if you want to be inspired, if you want to be, you want to keep yourself motivated, you have to uh, fill the gap, or right, when it comes to
Right.
the people you are talking with, or the people you are
Hmm.
sharing your ideas or passion, right? It's really the key, right? To be productive as well. Yeah. And with regards, Kevin, to you mentioned how you started on Upwork, right? So right now, is it still working at this pace of time? We know that it's kind of saturated market as well, with regards to, also in the design part, because I know I've been in the design industry for I think 9 years, right? So the
Hmm.
competitions is getting higher and tougher. And how do you keep
Right.
yourself uh, different from the others? Can you share your insights about that?
Yeah. First off, I decided to get rid of Upwork, or I decided to move out of from Upwork
Gotcha.
just this year. It was January. But before then, you were right. Competition's really tough in there. You are fighting over a lot of candidates, like 50 plus candidates for like a very stressful job, and you would really want to get that client, and you are willing to go the extra mile, spend a lot of sleepless night just to give him what he wants, then end up being paid for something like something that doesn't commensurate all your effort. That's the thing that I hated about Upwork. So that's the
And
reason
it
why I moved
sucks,
out
yeah.
of it. It sucks really.
Yeah, gotcha.
Yeah.
So
Oh, did I answer your question?
yeah, yeah, I think that's why you created your website as well, to
Exactly.
gain more
Right.
leads, right? So because
Right.
I always said that if you want to win, you have to play the long game, right? So you have to have the infinite mindset, and I got that from Simon Sinek, right? And I
Yes.
think a lot of creatives right now are really overthinking about getting a lot of work, get as much as clients that you can have, right? And I
Mm-hmm.
think right now you need to be really strategic. I call it
Mm-hmm.
uh what you call that, strategically ignorant as well, because
Mm-hmm.
as you might know, we need to learn fast and move forward as things, the technology goes, the technology keeps in evolving, especially in the design industry, in the creative industry. So we need to catch up on that. And for me, one of the things that I've always share is to have this principle: less but better. If you can have less clients but better payment, why not, right? If you can have
Right.
less bullshit and better actions, right? So just do it, right? And
Exactly
stop
right.
overthinking. So basically, you've shared a lot of points about that, and I'm really thankful for sharing that. For you, for sharing that, Kevin. Thank you so much for sharing that to the listeners of TDLS. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
and yeah, and I think we can go now go now and talk about the power of designing PowerPoint. So especially the what will it do for the business side as well? Because I know, for me it's kind of, I still have some gray area on this. I don't I don't have, what you call this, I don't have the luxury to design a PowerPoint every day like you. So basically, I really love what you are sharing, and I want to learn more about this one. Can you share your insights about that for the TDLS listeners?
Right, sure. So what I meant by power in PowerPoint is that the power of PowerPoint and how it impacted my life. So I'm excited to share it to all of you guys, and I hope that you would have a lot of inspiration from this thing. And I want to start off by saying, if you go to LinkedIn, you will see a lot of articles or posts talking about ditching PowerPoint because of its deadly powers. I'm not sure if you guys have heard about death
Really?
by PowerPoint.
I didn't
Yeah,
hear that.
deadly
Uh-huh.
powers. Yeah, like a lot of
Gotcha.
stuff. If you go to LinkedIn, you will
Mm-hmm.
see a lot of posts about it, like death by PowerPoint, ditch PowerPoint because
Yeah.
it's not good, all this stuff. But basically, what it meant by death by PowerPoint is that the presentation kills the audience because it is super boring. And this is the reason why the PowerPoint gets a bad rap when in fact it's not PowerPoint's fault. It's not PowerPoint's fault.
Gotcha. Mm-hmm.
You might say, sino responsible sa death by PowerPoint? Who's responsible for the death by PowerPoint? It's actually the speaker. What
Mm-hmm.
happens is that they tend to focus too much on the content and put almost everything on their slides. Kaya the tendency is that they will just use the PowerPoint as the script. They literally read everything on the slides, bullet by bullet. We've seen this before over and over again, and we cannot blame PowerPoint for this, right? We can blame
100%.
the speaker.
Yeah.
Yeah, for me, right? Microsoft has done a very revolutionary product when they introduced PowerPoint in 1987. If I could compute that, that would be around like 30, 31, 32 years. I mean, um, pinaglalaban ko talaga yung PowerPoint, ano? I'm really a fan of
Yeah.
PowerPoint.
Mm-hmm.
Well, because first and foremost, the deep reason is it has been my bread and butter for 3 years now. And right now, if I compare myself to what I was back in the corporate, the difference is huge, really huge. I
Mm-hmm.
get to I get to work for less hours and then
Yeah.
get the amount that I desired for and work with a lot of amazing people. Whereas in the corporate world, you experience a lot of politics, right?
100%. Yeah.
Right. So that's one of the biggest differences if I compare now and then before. So now you guys might think na, oh, everyone can create a PowerPoint presentation, so why bother? Why will I make it an option for me if I wanted to be a freelance designer? Well, think of this. Businessmen, they earn a lot of money, right? They need PowerPoint. Do you think they will spend a lot of time doing or designing their presentations? Well, in fact, they can use that time to gain more income. They won't do that, right? Hindi nila gagawin yun.
100%.
Kunyari,
Yeah.
kung ako
Mm-hmm.
if I'm the business owner, I wouldn't, if I'm a CEO, if I run a company, I wouldn't spend like 3 hours of my day spending on PowerPoint. Well, in fact, I could use that to do a more income generating thing, right? So that's the thing. That's where you come in, guys. So if you're good at PowerPoint, leverage that, use that, speak to a lot of persons, speak to the right people, the businessmen who you think needs your service. And that can be your start. Now, you might think, what are the possible markets for PowerPoint service um, if I decide to focus on PowerPoint? I could share to you three markets for PowerPoint service, and I hope you're excited for it. Are you?
Yeah, I'm excited for it, guy. Bro,
Cool. So
share it.
I dive I
Yeah,
dive with the first one.
sure.
So the first one is the speakers and trainers. So obviously they are the ones who always use visual aids to tell a story or teach their audience, right? So the main goal of the PowerPoint slide designer is to make sure that the story is supported by the visual design. The audience will not be bored. In other words, this is the exact opposite of death by PowerPoint. Your goal as a PowerPoint slide designer is to eliminate the threat or death by PowerPoint. You have to make sure that each slide resonates a story. It has a story. And all slides, if you connect them together, they form one big story. So that's what you can do for trainers and speakers. Speakers like TEDx speakers or conference speakers or inspirational speakers or coaches, or you can also say webinar speakers, all the stuff, a lot of opportunity for you guys. And if you try to search on Upwork or Freelancer or all other freelancing sites out there, you will see a lot of job posts related to this. And some of them might be speakers and trainers. And some would be our next market, which are the startup community, right? So,
Yeah.
Jay
Mhm.
Christ, you mentioned a while ago about the pitch thing, right? So,
Yes. Hmm.
founders, founders and spokespersons of startups need to pitch their ideas to their prospect investors. So, what do they use? They use pitch decks, which are usually designed in PowerPoint. Now, the role of a pitch deck designer is similar to the role of the slide designer. However, you have to be very careful, or you have to put a lot of attention to the details, because some of the slides there talks about numbers or statistics. And if there's one thing that a pitch deck designer should have, I think logic is very important. You know,
100%.
the
Yeah.
pitch deck designer should understand the business model of the startup. Otherwise, may hirapan silang i-portray. They will have a hard time to portray the story or the thought of the pitch,
Yeah,
right?
infographics it's really crucial when it comes to this one
Right,
because
exactly.
big guys, you know, always thinking about the numbers, right? Not only
Mm-hmm.
with the with the person who is presenting. Yeah.
Right, right. Very nice point. So if you also know about infographic, chances are if you could just show just one infographic to a client who is a founder or a startup founder, chances are they would notice you, because infographics are so powerful in the startup industry. And so that leads us to the last market where we can serve as PowerPoint designers, which are businesses. Now, I make this general so it will simplify our list. So, presentations are not all PowerPoint can do. The truth is, it's a very powerful and versatile software. Now, I'm going to share to you like 10 things that you can create out of PowerPoint, which can be beneficial for businesses. So, what are the type of businesses? You can say digital business or traditional businesses. Let's say hospitals, schools,
Brick and
spa,
mortar. Yeah.
restaurants, a lot
Yeah.
of businesses. Okay, And most of the businesses now uses social media, right? Or most of the businesses use social media to advertise their business. So with that thing in mind, you can always think that you can offer them social media images which can be created in PowerPoint, right? I don't know if you've thought about it, but
Gotcha. Yeah.
when I
Mhm.
first started my freelance journey, I started with Photoshop. But the problem is, sometimes my clients come back to me. They wanted like an edited version, an editable version of the file. And when I give them the PSD file, they were like, "Oh, I cannot do this. This is too much, overwhelming. How do you do the layers and stuff? How do I change the text?" Very
Yeah.
overwhelming for them.
Mhm.
And that's the reason also why I shifted to PowerPoint, because in PowerPoint, you can just send them the file and then they can do the tweaks on their own, right?
Yeah.
So it's very easy,
And I think,
very user
Kevin,
friendly,
just to add on this one, I think for those who, especially aspiring designers, you make it to the point that it's really simple. That in a click,
right?
in just one click or two clicks, they have the result, right? So that's what businesses
Exactly,
wants. So results. So basically, that's the most important part when you're designing something, right?
right. And they want something that is very easy for them to tweak or does
Gotcha.
not,
Yeah.
yeah, right. So another thing that you can offer to them, to businesses, is videos. I'm not sure if you guys tried converting a PowerPoint presentation into a video, because is a no-brainer. Like, I think a fifth grader would know that. That's my guess.
Yeah.
But anyway, but
Mhm,
anyway, what I do is, if you would check my website, I don't
mhm,
know. What I do is that I animate the objects such that they would appear to be like created in a motion graphic type, like in,
mhm.
what was the software that you used to create motion graphics?
After Effects.
After Effects, yeah,
Yeah.
right. I try to animate the objects in PowerPoint so that they would appear like they're created in After Effects. And then I save them as a video and then upload them wherever or given to my clients. And you can also sync a voice over to that video so that it would come up like an advertisement or a tutorial or all the stuff that we see on social media. So that's it. The second one is YouTube videos or videos in general. Next one is what you just said a while ago, Jay Christ, which is infographics. So I don't think I need to
Yeah.
expand more on
Mhm.
that. And another thing is business cards. You know,
Business
who
card. Mhm.
knew that you can also create business cards? Because in
Uh-huh.
PowerPoint you have the freedom, you have the ability to tweak or to resize the slide.
Ooh,
So the
nice.
standard size for
Interesting.
business cards,
Yeah.
right? So the standard size for business card is 3.5 inch by 2 inches, right? So you just have to go to the right options, click the right buttons, and then input that size, and then there you have it, the business card. Apply your magic and everything's fine. And another one, the fifth one is resumes. Now, way back like 2 years ago, I had some clients who came to me asking for a stunning resume, something that is
Cool. Uh-huh.
not like done in the 90s, but something that is done
Yeah.
in this current age. And then when I give them my design, they were like, "Where did you do this? Why are you giving me a PowerPoint file? I thought this would be done on a much more advanced software like Photoshop or InDesign or something." So that's a validation for me
Yeah,
that,
that's really
yeah, I think
great.
I'm doing a
Uh-huh.
great job. I would continue with PowerPoint,
Yeah.
right? Okay, so should I continue with my list?
Yeah, sure. Do you have any things to share? Sure.
Yeah, just
Yeah.
four more things,
Cool.
and I'm gonna make this really quick. So
Okay.
the next one is logo. So to be honest, I did my logo in PowerPoint and just asked a designer from Upwork to convert it into an AI file. So you can create logo in PowerPoint because, believe it or not, shapes in PowerPoint are much like similar to the shapes in Illustrator. they are vector based, guys. Try to do it.
Gotcha.
Try opening your PowerPoint and then creating some shapes, and then when you zoom in like to the uh,
Yeah.
biggest zoom that you can ever do, it's vector based,
Yeah, I
and
see
that's
that.
stunning.
Yeah.
That's wow. Yeah,
Oh,
right.
cool.
Now I'm gonna go fast on this. Now the seventh one, which is what I usually offer to my real estate clients, is the brochures and flyers. So you can give them perhaps like two pages of flyers or a long form of brochure, all this stuff, which many of the professional designers use Adobe Illustrator or Adobe InDesign to create all of these stuff, right?
Mm.
But I've created it in PowerPoint, and my clients, they didn't have any problems with it at all. Well, in fact, they actually love it because they can tweak it anytime they want. So that's what's good about PowerPoint. That's the
Yeah.
power in
Hmm.
PowerPoint. Now I'm just gonna get through the three more things that you can offer to businesses, which is a screen recording. So if you wanted to give them like a tutorial, you can record yourself using PowerPoint because there's an option in it. Now another thing is to create
Uh-huh.
a GIF or GIF. With just the use of animation and transition from slide to slide, you can create a GIF. And the last thing is you can create a Prezi like presentation. Like everyone knows about Prezi, right? Like it has like a zoom effect and then
Uh-huh.
a lot of turns and all this stuff. Very, very cool, very sleek, very animated, and very, uh, I could say millennial animated. Yeah, right. But I'm not sure if you guys know that you can also create the similar effect in PowerPoint. But you have to consider that you have to use, I guess, like 2010 version and up in order
Uh-huh.
for you to have that um, that feature. So that's it, guys. Those are the 10 things that you can offer to businesses for. Those are the 10 things that you can offer to businesses using your PowerPoint service.
Gotcha. That's really cool, Kevin. Thank you so much for sharing that. And I think for those who are listening, make sure you take down notes. But I guess for me, it's really valuable for those who don't know this niche and want to try this niche, right? So especially for
Mm-hmm.
those uh, aspiring creatives or aspiring designer, and it's really I see a lot of possibilities in designing a keynote or PowerPoint, right? So because billion-dollar startups or billion-dollar companies are using this, right? So why not take
Right.
some advantage, right? So take the opportunities and create your own opportunities using this amazing tool, right? Or this using your skills as well on storytelling,
Exactly.
right?
Right.
And yeah, Kevin, before we wrap up this episode, what's your best practical advice for those aspiring designer like you? I know you've been a lot of struggles as well, and if you go back when you're just getting started, what's your best practical advice for them?
Well, the best practical advice that I would give you guys is to exhaust everything that you can if you decided to go on a particular skill. Like, for instance, if you decided to go photography and then months after months, nothing happened, ask yourself, did I do everything that I can? Or what else have I not done that might be a reason for me to succeed? Ask those questions before you entertain the idea of shifting from another skill. Like that's what I do also right now. So before I try to do to offer other businesses, I would try to say, what else can I do with PowerPoint that could help a lot of businesses and give me the results that I want, which uh, gives me freedom, all those stuff.
Yeah.
I need to try to as much as possible exhaust everything that I can before I try to shift on a different thing. And if you would apply that to your freelance business, guys, I would say that before you decide to shift from one niche to the other or one skill to the other, make sure that you've given your best, your utmost best before you make that decision. Because if you're trying to if you're trying to shift from one niche or one skill to the other, and then you end up not being fully committed to doing that, chances are you're just wasting years, guys. So it's better that you make a commitment and then learn everything about it as much as you can, and then exhaust everything. And then if nothing's working, that's the time that you shift to another skill or another niche. So that's my
Yeah.
utmost advice for you guys.
Yeah, thank you so much, Kevin, for sharing that. And I actually, uh, kudos for that as well, because uh, I think if you heard Bruce Lee quote that I fear not the man who has practiced 10,000 kicks once, but I fear
Right,
the man
exactly, right.
who has practiced one kick 10,000 times. So yeah, just think about it, right? So be deliberate of your actions before doing something else. And I'm very big as with this as well, because before I go dive into creative entrepreneurship, I try uh, to juggle my corporate work and do some side hustling. So it's basically what Kevin said, right? So practice makes uh practicing one kick 10,000 times would really open a lot of doors for you,
Right,
right?
exactly.
Yeah, that's it, Kevin. Thank you so much again for sharing your journey, your design life stories for our TDLS audience. And I really appreciate it, man, for dropping by on the podcast. And I really mean it. And thank you so much for sharing
Thank you, thank you.
the time with me, or recording this podcast with me. So where they can
Yeah.
find you, if they have any questions, if they have any PowerPoint tricks that they want to learn from you, what's where they can find you online.
Yeah, sure. Okay, so if you guys are interested about PowerPoint, or if you guys find that this is very insightful or inspirational for you guys, you can check with me or you can connect with me on LinkedIn. Just type in my name, that's Kevin Somerbang, or you can go to my website, that's kineticslides.com, to see what I do.
That's it. Thank you so much, Kevin
Right.
Somerbang. Thank you so much for sharing your very very valuable lessons for the TDLS listeners. Talk soon, man. Thank you so much.
All right, talk soon. Thank you. Thanks, guys. Thanks, J Christ. Bye.
And that's a wrap. Thank you so much for listening. As you might probably notice or not, I haven't published any episode for the past 2 months. The reasons was that I realized that I need to step back a little bit to make this content more amazing and evergreen for all of you guys, especially for all the supporters who contribute monetarily, and I just want to let you know that it really means the world to me. With that being said, there are a ton of people asking me on how to support this podcast. So here's how. Number one is you can leave a review on Apple Podcasts. So in that way, you can help me to reach more people and make the podcast more discoverable within the ecosystem. Second one is you can take a screenshot of this podcast and share to your friends, colleagues, or to anyone that might be interested in this kind of content. Third one is you can support the podcast monetarily by visiting jchristteves.com/donate. That's jchristteves.com/donate or patreon.com/TDLS. And the last one is by listening to all the podcast episode. However, if you support my message, that's more than enough and it means the world to me. So thank you so much.